Hi, Dr. TJ Dixon, your intuitive guide to transformation, connecting to your best life. Today's message is about not allowing fear of exposure to keep you from being who you've been called to be, being a blessing to others, and living your best life. So right now, all the rage that is going on all over the world is this brand new movie called Black Panther. And I don't know where you have been if you have not heard about this movie, because it's a big Marvel film. It's breaking all of these records, and it's about a king who lives in a land of Wakanda, and he has become king because his father has died, and now he's got to decide what kind of king he's going to be and how he's going to continue to lead Wakanda. Is he going to lead it by the traditions of how it had always been, or is he going to decide to step away from the fear that Wakanda had of exposure and actually using all of the blessings and the resources they have, all of the technology that they have from the vibranium there, and use it to be a blessing to the rest of the world that is actually suffering and having some chaos? Wakanda had a lot of answers there that could be really, really helpful to help empower people so that they could also live their best lives. So I just finished viewing that movie for the second time, and I started to think about some of what I've had. A couple of questions come to me recently, some conversations that I've had, and also even an article I read. And all of them had to do with people who wanted to do something differently or believe something differently from the group that they were part of. In the particular cases I'm referring to, they were people who had a different way of life, something different that they wanted to do that their religion did not approve of. In one particular case, there was a woman who I read about. She had a murder-suicide. She killed her husband and her 2 adult children, and then herself, because the religion that she was part of, she and her husband decided to step away from, because they wanted to give their children an opportunity that the religion didn't believe in them having, which was them going to college, because she knew that her kids had these great giftings and they could really enhance them by going to college and then going out and doing a job that they really love to do, and also being a blessing to the world. Unfortunately for this woman, according to the article I read, that all of the shunning that she received from the people who had formerly been her family and friends and support system, they all began to shun her, wouldn't have nothing to do with her because she stepped away. And that pressure got to be so much that the ladies decided to end it all. I also recently had a conversation with a young man who had a belief about how our choices can really create an alternate, can really alter our lives. So even if we decide to go left instead of right down a street, that could create, in essence, in his words, an alternate universe, if you will, or alternate life for you, because you chose left instead of right. And his thing was, and he didn't know if the fact that he believed that there could be all these infinite possibilities and essentially alternate universes that a person could live in, he didn't know if the religious group he claims, would be supportive of that. And then finally, I had someone ask me a question about a particular type of service that she was thinking about having done, and it dealt with the healing arts. So it dealt with tarot and pendulum, and wasn't sure if that would be appropriate or would be accepted, or if it went against the religion that she was part of. And so it got me, with all of this, it got me to thinking, it's really, when we start to look at, and this is not to just focus it on religion, because this could be even to deal with your family. I know even me myself, there's things that that I believe, and there's even ways of healing that I think that are very much different from anything I've ever heard anyone in my family talk about or ever do, but I know they work because I've done it, and I've seen other people it work for, but I haven't necessarily shared all of that because I just wasn't sure if some of my family would be open to it. And so it got me to thinking, am I really living in this fear of exposure? And so I decided to make this video because perhaps you are living in fear of exposure. Maybe there's something great that you could share that could be a true blessing to other people, but you have to expose yourself to let them know that you believe in it, or that you did it, or you can do it. For instance, even with me, I am a Reiki practitioner, and I do have healing energy that can flow through me through my hands, but I don't necessarily always share that. I guess I just did now, but I don't necessarily always share that with everyone that I meet because I don't know how people are going to feel about that. I don't even know about the people that even within my family necessarily would feel about that. But it comes down to, is it a fear? Is it an actual fear, or what is it? So I wanted to just come on, share this video with you just to get the thoughts rolling, because I lately have just it just seems like there's been kind of like this convergence of this type of conversation going on, or this type of thought going on within me about really allowing ourselves to really be open to exposing ourselves, to being vulnerable, and really sharing what it is that we believe in, what it is that we want to do, how we want to explore, and not walk around in fear because we're trying to stay within the tenets of someone else's ideas and rules of how we should be. Sometimes it's tradition. In the case of Black Panther, the new king had to decide, was he going to break tradition and help the rest of the world that could really benefit from what they knew? He had to become his own king and not follow the footsteps necessarily of his father, because when he tried to do that, it did not work for him, because his heart was different than his father's. And it was time for him to step into his own and really give his giftings to bless not only Wakanda, but also the rest of the world at large. And so ask yourself, look into yourself, what is it that maybe you believe, or you'd like to explore, or what you stand for, and maybe it doesn't necessarily fit the group. It can be a scary situation, because sometimes when you are really truly being who you are, initially you may feel very lonely because you may think you're the only one. I've had that conversation recently too with someone who is just, he's able to see things from a different perspective than a lot of people, and he knows things, more things than a lot of people around him, and he called it, he says sometimes it almost feels like a curse, because it's like he's the only one who gets all this stuff and nobody else seems to get it. But I encourage you that if you're even in that situation, you've been chosen to be that person that gets that gets it, that really understands what's going on. And if you find yourself alone sometimes, it's probably because you are the groundbreaker, the leader, the innovator, the bold one that's to step out and be bold and be truly who you are. Shine your light so that the rest of us can really see you shining your light. Because when we begin to shine, and when we really began to be exactly how we were created, when we really take the chains off of the fear, take the chains off of the labels, take the chains out of all of that, and we really connect to our Creator, and we are really having our own relationship, regardless to what our traditions are, regardless to what society, the types of boxes society says how we're supposed to be, regardless to if you have a religion, what it thinks, regardless to whether you're even a person who doesn't believe in religion, because there are people who absolutely despise organized religion. But even within that, sometimes I have found when I've had those conversations, it seems like the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater, because the direct line in relationship with God kind of gets thrown out with that too, because they can't stand the religion so much. For you, getting that connection, your true connection, that relationship with God, so important. Start tuning in, pray, meditate, and start getting those direct downloads and that conversation going back and forth. Ask God, ask your Creator the questions that you have in life. If there's something that you want to explore and try, there are things that I have explored and tried, different types of healing arts and things like that. And that's been my way, is to just to say, hey, have that conversation. I've had that conversation with my Creator, that conversation with God, saying, hey, I really am interested in this because I really want to understand what it is versus what people have told me about it or what people think it is, and they've never even experienced it either. I want to know for myself. Give me some sense of peace. Give me some discernment on whether or not this is something that I need to do, whether or not this is something that will harm me or be helpful to me. And when I go in and I'm prayed up, then I'm able to explore and really see for myself the things that I would like to explore and know. So I just want to encourage you, be the unicorn. That's the new word right now. Be the unicorn. Be who you truly are. Don't allow the labels or the chains, and especially not the fear, keep you from truly living who you have been called to be, who you have come to be, and keep you from living your best life and being a blessing to others. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Like and share this video. Comment below if you would like. And may you live your best life.